Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Pack Leader Podcast. This is season 4, episode number 4. We're here with Dennis Virelli. How we doing?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Good, man.
Doing well.
I'm doing well.
BB, how you holding up?
Living the dream, making it, surviving.
Yeah. Listen, the flu's been going around, kicking y'all's behind. Dennis, you had it a couple weeks ago, and I think, Coach, you're dealing with it now.
Yeah, my wife, I was like, you supposed to take care of me? She said, yeah, I haven't killed you yet. That's how I'm supposed
Yeah. So I'm hoping that it just makes its way through the team. James Howard went back home, and he was like, Coach, I don't think I want to come back yet. I don't want to get guys sick. I was like, you know what? Honestly, that might be the best thing for us. Let's just get everyone get it and get it over with.
Yeah, I wish I had it before because it sucks now.
Well, I appreciate you, getting on the show.
You know how I felt at...
Listen, I was working with John Parker this morning, and there's just no oxygen. Like, the air was going in and out, but no oxygen was getting in. It was crucial.
Yeah, you were down bad at the Clash.
Yeah. It was just like, I don't know. I felt like everything was hard to do. No matter walking, talking, standing, it was just hard to do.
Hey, you wrestled through it though. So, how you all know Bama not making it?
Yeah, it'd be all right.
Sore subject.
Listen, I mean, SMU loses and gets in at the whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
All right, fair enough.
But we had a rematch against Michigan from last year in the bowl game.
Okay.
And so beating them like a redheaded stepchild will work.
Nice consolation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, yeah, I appreciate everyone tuning in. I wanted to jump into our segment, All Things Newberry Wrestling. BB, hit us with a little update on the pin pool.
So we're up to 34 pins this season, which is way better than we were last time we talked.
A lot better than 4.
We had like 4.
Yeah, 4.
So up to 34. King Open was a big help there.
Mm-hmm.
John Parker leads the team with 6. Cale Alderman has 4. Chance has 3, and I believe they all came at the King Open.
They did. He had himself a day.
He had the fastest pin, which was 44 seconds over Brandon Johnson of West Liberty. We're up to $414 per pin. 128 different members contributing to that $414, and we really want to make a push to get to at least $450. Obviously, we breached that $500 per pin goal last year, but I think being that high, obviously, I think us wrestling was a big part of getting that high.
Yeah.
But at least 450, I think, is a good place to end up, if not 500. But big thanks to all those members who are pitching in. Tell your friends, tell your family, get everybody involved. Let's get to 450 or even 500, hopefully. But 450 for sure is what we need to get to.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to everyone who has pledged so far. For people who aren't familiar with the pin pool, it's a wrestling-focused fundraiser that we've been doing. I think this is our 5th or 6th year doing it. But basically, if let's say Dennis, his mom wants to give $1 for every pin that Newberry gets. If we get 50 pins at the end of the season, she would make a gift for $50. And it's tiered off so that there's different incentives and rewards for the more that you pledge. And it's been a really successful fundraiser for us over the years. So like BB said, we're trying to get to 450 this year. So even if you've already pledged, you can continue to help us in our efforts by copying and pasting that link that I send out in my monthly emails, or even the link that if you go to our Newberry website, you can find the pin pool form to continue sharing that via text. You can put it up on social media and that type of thing too. But those dollars really are beneficial for us when it comes to supplementing our annual operating budget. As far as recruiting goes, when we think about travel and lodging accommodations, I mean, we're going to Colorado this coming year, and I know last year's money is going to be used a lot to help with that trip. And so we really appreciate everyone's support, but it is, along with recruiting, the fundraising piece is huge for us in the day-to-day operations of our program. So thank you. I wanted to jump into next our competition update, and obviously I'm going to give you some more time to talk about that, having you in our pack leader interview, but we had a good day that day.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a fun time, especially coming off of the Southeast Open was unique in that it had the freshman-sophomore division, but we were, I think, the only D2
we were
there, and then there was maybe one NAI, but it was a very D1 heavy. 98% of the field was D1, and to have the showing we had there felt good. We competed very well and that sort of thing. But to get to a tournament where it's going to be heavily D2 and below, but also no freshman-sophomore division, kind of wasn't sure how it was going to go. So we ended up having a really good day, and I was super proud of our guys.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm counting them up right now. We had 8 placers. Dennis, you won at 157 pounds. John Parker took home title at 197. Alderman took 3rd. Caden Peltz took 3rd at their weight classes, respectfully. Humphreys, he took 6th. Haven Jenkins took 6th. Chance took 8th, and also Malachi. And you might be listening and thinking, why they placed so deep, but that tournament was kind of big.
Yeah, we were there until 2 o'clock.
I had a 32 man, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It was a deep tournament.
It was the biggest that it's ever never been, the coach was saying, he actually called me, or I called him on the way there because he sent an email out saying that, they had X amount of wrestlers and, just a plan to be there late. And I called him. I was like, well, I hope there's a plan to add some more mats because I ain't trying to be there all day. But no, it was awesome. I thought they did an awesome job running it, and it was pretty competitive. I mean, you had some really good matches with that Bertrand kid, and who'd you end up? I forget who you had in the finals.
Cumberland kid.
Yeah.
But it might have been, I don't know the difference between Tennessee and Kentucky. But it was
one of them was Cumberland University, one of them was University of the Cumberlands.
Yeah, I don't know. But either way, it was awesome.
Did they have blue or not?
No, it was like...
Just maroon and...
Maroon, I want to say.
One of
them. But it was a good day. Not only did our leaders do a good job in leading as far as the guys who start, but I was really impressed with our red shirts too. Like Haven Jenkins comes to mind.
Yeah.
It's funny because we started recruiting him after the King Open last year when he was a senior.
Because of the King Open.
Yeah.
Great opportunity for him to go show out, sort of his home tournament, so to speak. He wrestled really well. Malachi kind of showed up, and so did Eli.
Yeah.
Elijah wrestled well. So the young guys wrestled really well. I mean, Dennis, you're a freshman, so having guys really show up and show out was a very positive sign for the future. But then you also got some upperclassmen, John Parker obviously winning it, Chance placing, Pelk placing, Humphreys another freshman, redshirt freshman who took 6th, and he's undersized. So I mean,
really 2 weight classes up.
Yeah, like 2 weight classes up. I mean, he really overperformed as well. So super positive to see from that group. Yeah,
and while I'm thinking about it, we were talking about Jenkins. For those who don't know, he did just have a terrible knee injury. I think he shredded up pretty much everything in there. So please keep him in your prayers as he goes. I think he's going for surgery this week, and then on the road to recovery. But definitely keep him in your thoughts and prayers because he can use it. Moving on, I wanted to. Well, before we move on, you did talk about how we had a good day. We did pick up 18 pins at the King Open.
Yeah, it was a big day.
I was telling Dennis before it started, the pin pool only works if you pin people.
Right.
So
Dennis had like 5 at the King or Pembroke, one of the 2 opens last year, and like he don't even have 5 this year. So what are we doing?
What are we doing, dude?
I have people pinned. They just don't hit the mat.
So I heard
you know what it takes to pin somebody, right?
Yeah.
You got to put both shoulders down and hold them there for a minute.
I heard they don't even make you wrestle the rest of the match.
Right, they let you stop right then. They're like, hey, guess what? You done. You win.
But like, how many seconds? Because I have these kids pinned for so long. And
I don't actually think there's a time frame. I think it's just a full compression in the mat. Like, at least a 1 count, but you just both sides, both shoulders. Boop.
I gotta start getting them down.
You learn something every day. Moving on, we had the Carolina Clash up in Greenwood, South Carolina at Lander University. Hosted an awesome tournament with some really good competition. Tough day for us.
A little bit.
Yep, but it was an even tougher day for Salem. So it could be that. So we dropped 2. We lost to Ashland 12-35. We beat Salem 50-5, and then we lost to Glenville 10-34. But I kind of just wanted to talk about takeaways. We mentioned a little bit in passing, Dennis, you being sick as a dog, you had the flu, and kind of just doing what you had to do to get through some of those matches. But what are some of y'all's takeaways from that day?
I think one thing that I noticed from Ashland, I noticed watching film. We did some film study on them, scouted them a little bit, and then seeing them in person, they have become a very, and I mean this in a good way, like kind of the whole team kind of does the same thing, which was like more of a high school thing, where you get guys who've never wrestled and they show up for the team and they just get really good at whatever moves the coach shows a lot. Normally at the college level, you tend to see a wider array of skill sets. Even the guy, I think it was the one John Parker wrestled, is the same one we saw Chris Walton wrestle a few years ago.
Kane Morris.
And it is like 2 different people. The way he wrestles now isn't even the same style that he wrestled. It's not like he's just gotten better. He's completely changed the style that he wrestles. But that whole team has really obviously bought into that coaching staff, and that coaching staff has really sort of highlighted on a few things that are successful and just embrace it as a team, and you just see that up and down the lineup, that same, 2 or 3 things that everybody does and everybody's kind of does pretty well. And I think if it's one of those things that you as a team collectively don't defend well or whatever, you could be in for a long day, and I think 1 or 2 of those things got to us.
Yeah, for sure. What about you? Anything that stands out from the day?
I just want to say, like, the scores don't really... Like, they don't go with the way we wrestled. I think we wrestled really, really well. It's just we had some really unfortunate events happening where, like, in the early phases of Glenville, we were winning most of the matches down low, and then we would just get pinned, even though we were winning there. Or, like, even Braden going up big on the number 1 kid in the country and then just losing it a little bit at the end. But, like, we have it there. It's just we got to finish the matches. And finish the teams.
Definitely. And it's kind of like I was saying after the match, I think, the reps will continue to pay off in the long run. We got 5 or 6 redshirt freshmen in the lineup, and I think
we got a redshirt freshman from 25 to 65.
Right. And so I think that showed. I mean, I think some of the things that people traditionally struggle with coming out of high school into college, bottom, hand fighting. And I think, if you look at that match against Ashland, got turned like a doorknob. I think just struggling on bottom and down low. And I think it just comes with time and us continue to focus our efforts and practice on that stuff too. But some really bright moments. I mean, Tatum wrestled his behind off against Salem and also against Kiocho from Glenville. I mean, that's a 2-time finalist national champ, and we were up at one point. I was like, he's a takedown or 2 away from a tech.
Yeah, like 11-3.
Yeah.
11-2 at one point. Yeah.
And then you just saw that gas tank. But it was, he's been out due to injury, but it was still cool to see his ability level.
Yeah.
That's where he's at.
Right, him being out due to injury is a little bit of why he...
Yep, definitely.
That gas tank caught up to him. But no, he comes out, and I like seeing that he doesn't care that he's out of shape. He's like, nah, this is how I wrestle.
Yeah.
Full steam ahead. It may not be the best results-wise, but it is a phenomenal mentality to have because... we'll get the gas tank.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't want him adjusting and going out there and wrestling conservative and trying to not score points just so he doesn't get tired.
For sure.
I want you, go build an 11-2 lead, but also, don't lose it.
Right. Yeah. Right. And we talked a lot. We've been talking a little bit about that in, one-on-ones and stuff. So I do think that'll continue to improve. I feel like if we showed up against Ashland how we did against Glenville, I mean, whether we win or not, I do think the score would have been a lot closer. We seem to kind of be there, but not really present against Ashland because we wrestled way tougher against Glenville. I mean, like you said, I think Glenville has 5 or 6 D1 transfers in their lineup currently. And I mean, our guys were competing with them up until, I think about Hunter taking that shot on the edge and his head getting too close to his knee. He's winning that match and he, just gives up a cradle. Little stuff like that. So I definitely think the wrestling part, we did a lot better in that second match, but we're just young and got to continue to make those improvements.
Right, and not only that, but people who, if you don't know how dual meets are scored, I mean, a match where you could have every guy on your team lose by 1 point in overtime, and it's the same score, 30-0. If everybody on your team loses 7-0,
right,
and gets the heck beat out of them, that's also 30-0. So, wrestling really well and wrestling a really tight match, and you could lose 25-24 in an individual bout, and you get 0 points for your team, and the other guy gets 3 points for his team. And so, not being able to pick up anything, no matter how well you wrestle, if you lose, definitely makes the score seem a little bit lopsided. But I think Dennis hit the nail on the head. For a young team who doesn't have a whole lot of varsity mat time experience, I think we wrestled really well.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, if anything, it makes the guys more hungry to continue making the improvements. We know we got to. I mean, that's why we went to that tournament.
For sure.
Glenville's top 10 team, Ashland. I mean, they beat Lander that day, so it's not like they were a scrub of a team either. So we got what we came for, and our guys have been making improvements since then. Moving on, I wanted to jump into the rankings. So the open mat rankings came out recently, and we got John Parker at 197 pounds. He's ranked 11 in the country. And then also the NWCA coaches poll came out. John's ranked number 10 in that one, and then Andrew Reed is ranked number 13. So always proud to have our guys, ranked in the country. Hopefully after Midwest Classic, some of you guys go out there, show up, we can add some more to the mix.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. So I wanted to jump into our pack leader interview with Dennis. Dennis, just start out by telling everybody a little bit about yourself in terms of where you're from, what high school you went to, and what weight class you wrestled.
All right. I'm from West Berlin, New Jersey. I like to stay in Cape May, New Jersey during the summer, just as my summer place. I'm from St. Augustine Prep High School. It's where I spent all 4 years, and I wrestle 157 here.
Nice. And we decided to bring Dennis on this episode just because coming off of winning the King Open, I thought it'd be cool to just talk about your experience. I know that's not the only college tournament you won because you won Newberry Open last year too, right?
Yes.
But coming off of that, that's awesome. Tell me a little bit about your experience at the King Open as our starter and getting that victory.
Well, starting at the Southeast Open, like I did pretty well there. Didn't really like how I finished though, so I kind of wanted to show myself at least what I could do at the King Open. So when I went out there, it was it was personal for me. So like most matches, I wanted to impose my will on the other guy, and I ended up taking it out at the end. So pretty happy with how it went.
Definitely, man, and I hope to see it keep rolling. As we get into Midwest this coming weekend. Coming from New Jersey, how do you feel like your style stacks up against wrestlers from other parts of the country?
Well, New Jersey they have a pretty unique style. Everyone knows the Jersey Whirlybird, but it's just like since you're little, like it's the football of the South, kind of like. Where everything is just like wrestling. I'm going 2 hours here for this practice. I'm going 4 hours for this tournament, and it's every weekend. And it's just like it does get overwhelming, but like it just the grind since you were little, it just builds you up. So like now it's kind of easy, even though it's not really that easy. But like technique and things like that just become easy now, and it's just.
I feel like it gives you a good foundation.
Yeah, that's exactly, and you get a better understanding of wrestling.
Definitely.
Like you understand everything better. I feel like just coming from it.
We had a lot of Jersey guys on the team when we wrestled back in the day, and man, we would get in so many arguments about but part of me just giving him a hard time. My boy BJ Young, he would always get on me about how like I would never win state in Jersey. My 3 in winning state in South Carolina, and then he was like, you probably won't even qualify for state in Jersey. So we would always get into it about that. They would get on you too.
Oh, they would try to.
But
I wouldn't have it.
Nah, I mean they would be pretty intense. But no, I mean I think Jersey's arguably one of the toughest states in the country wrestling wise. I mean you got your Californians, you got Pennsylvanians and other, but like traditionally we know guys from Jersey can scrap. So it's awesome to have you on our squad and bringing what you have, like you said, that background and that foundation to Newberry. What I guess talk a little bit about why you ended up choosing Newberry, because I know you were looking at that one school down in Florida. You had a couple different options, especially after the latter end of the season, I think, is when you popped up on our radar, because you placed at, was it Powerade?
BC
East, and that's kind of how you popped up. So I know you had options, is my point. Why'd you end up choosing Newberry?
When I came to Newberry, well, first of all, I knew Asa,
right,
which is just like a hometown friend. But then, like, I just felt, well, I hear it even, like, when I have people on visits, just, like, you have that real family mentality here, where, like, when you come here, it's, like, Southern hospitality. Like, you are just welcomed with open arms, and, like, I just seen, like, there's a couple questions I ask myself, or in my little brother's going through the same process, and I tell him to ask the same questions, like, can you see yourself here in 4 years? Obviously I can. And you, like, can these people help me get a job eventually? Like, those are the 2 main questions I ask myself, and I feel like this was the best place to build as a person, and wrestling isn't it's not my do or die. I have to get a job eventually. I have to get money eventually, provide for a family, so what's after wrestling also? Definitely came into my choosing.
Yeah, that's a pretty mature perspective to have. A lot of times when you talk to a guy, obviously recruiting is a huge part of the job. I get so often, and you too, Coach, I'm going D1. I don't care about a job. I don't care, I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm just going to college so I can wrestle, and it's tunnel vision on that. Yeah. So to have that perspective, and it's great advice to be giving your brother as he goes through the same process too. You mentioned a job. What do you see yourself doing after college?
I really like wealth management. I've been getting into like a lot of stocks lately. Nice. Like that's my main thing. I've been making some good money on stocks also. So like I like that wealth management, kind of doing everything on my own, using other people's money to make money. That sounds fun to me.
So it's got $17 in stocks.
700.
So what you're saying is sign you up for the pinball.
Right.
Nah, that's cool. No, I think wealth management is a great career to go into.
Especially now with the economy, all signs are pointing to it's gonna, take a boom upward here in the near future. So it's a good place to be, especially in the next couple of years. You want to go back home to work, or you don't care wherever the job?
I like down here. South Carolina is a little, but I like Georgia for some reason. Georgia's nice.
Okay. Nice.
I just like I don't know, the environment around there.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% set though.
Right. Well, you got time. I mean, you got three years ahead of you. Just kind of curious. Talking a little bit about just kind of, reflecting back on high school and even just in life in general. Who's been the biggest influence in your life wrestling on and off the mat?
This would be a little weird, but I'm going to say my biggest influence is probably my little brother.
Really?
So, I've always looked out for my little brother, but, he looks up to me, most ever. So, I feel like whenever he's like, yo, dude, what are you doing? That reflects on me. So, I feel like I have to do the right thing so he knows what to do.
Yeah.
So, I feel like him just being there and being like, hey, what am I supposed to do now?
Right.
And, me showing him those things is, that helps me every day just...
Well, because he's watching you, kind of watching your steps, so that just makes you more conscious about doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Nice. Does he wrestle?
Hard topic. My mom's kind of mad at him because he just switched to shot put this year.
So he's looking for track and field in college.
He's a freshman this year.
Oh, so he got plenty of time.
Yeah, he just came in, but my mom's mad. He doesn't want to wrestle.
He don't want to wrestle at all.
Call him, do something. He wants to play shot put, and I was like, let him do shot put then.
Yeah, whatever.
Let him figure it out.
There's scholarship money in that too.
Yeah, let him figure it out. If that's what he wants to do, let him throw the ball around, I guess.
Who's the better athlete?
Me. The better athlete.
Nice. A lot of people don't know, dude, but you were kind of big in high school.
I was big. I came down.
Yeah.
I started at...
You were a sturdy fella.
Yeah. My freshman year, I weight started at 205.
That's crazy.
And then I got I wrestled 70 that postseason, 82 the next. My junior year, I wrestled 65, then 57.
And then 49 last
year. Then 49 last year. So I've just been coming down.
Yeah. Do you think it's just as you've gotten older, you kind of just lost the body fat type deal or what?
Well, when I was in 7th, 8th grade, I was dead set on football. And then that's what I eventually went to high school for. Wrestling didn't give me that scholarship thing until I actually got on campus. And then they were like, all right, we'll give you some more merit money. But then I went for football, and then when I was like, hey, wrestling might be my thing, and I started to cut the weight, I just went down.
Yeah.
And then I took wrestling on as more serious. But I also give a lot of respect to the kids on my wrestling team that I'm not going to say I like them more than the football kids, but they became my family eventually at the school.
Yeah.
And they were everything revolved around just what we did.
Yeah. I think it's easy to it's harder to have that kind of bond on a football team. I don't know what y'all's roster size was, but here Chance had a similar experience where we got 200 people on the football team here. So just a lot harder to know 200 people than it is to know 50 guys,
Right. Well, I think the dynamic is so much different because with football, let's say for Chance, being an O lineman, if you don't do your job, the quarterback's getting crushed, and he's probably not gonna hop up and be like, "Hey, Chance, go get him next time, buddy." He's gonna get up kind of pissed off.
Yeah.
So with wrestling, I think the older guys and the more advanced guys and stuff, they tend to embrace and welcome younger, less experienced guys, all that sort of thing, as sort of a, hey, listen, you're about to be on your own out here. We need you for the team. So, the team aspect is there in both, but it's you're directly hurting me in football.
Yeah.
Or I might be getting blamed for you or whatever. Right. Whereas in wrestling, it's you're on your own, and the result determines our result.
Right.
And so it's we want, we need you to be as prepared as possible. So it's a little different because it's not I'm right beside you doing my job and you're just letting this guy run right by you and crush the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a little bit different dynamic there that definitely makes sense, even if it's hard to put in words. But I can definitely see that. But with wrestling, you always see those older guys bringing those younger guys along.
Yeah.
Because it is so. Wrestling is beautiful because you can be selfish without being selfish in a sense.
Right.
The better I do,
the better the team does.
Yeah. So in football, the running back's no, I want the ball. Well, that's at the cost of the receiver getting receiving yards.
Yeah.
Or the quarterback getting passing yards.
Yeah.
Because the running back wants running yards or whatever. Wrestling, if I go out there and pin my guy, the whole team gets 6 points. So a little bit different dynamic in that regard.
Yeah, no, definitely. And speaking of wrestling, what would you say? Because you've had your redshirt year. What was the biggest adjustment for you coming from high school wrestling to college wrestling? We talked a little bit about some of our younger guys struggling with bottom and hand fighting. What would you say it was for you?
I want to just say it's like grit. Like when you get here or get to any college at all, like people don't you don't have scrubs anymore. Even though there's some people that aren't as good and there's some people that are better, no one's gonna roll over for you anymore. Right. So it's just working through every position, like you guys say in practice all the time, just even if they're taking you down, not giving up that takedown. Everyone's doing that now. So you just gotta work on the grit and not giving up those points.
Right.
And no one's gonna really roll over anymore. You have to put the work in and put them over yourself.
It's really hard to explain how to articulate that difference from high school to college. Because you can say grit, but when you're trying to explain that to a freshman, a high school senior who's coming into the program, it's no. In college, you really just don't stop wrestling.
Yeah.
I know it sounds overly simplified, but that's the thing. You don't stop wrestling, and I think that's a huge adjustment for a lot of younger guys. Let's take a shot recovery position for example. I take a bad shot, he stops it. Well, I can keep wrestling and stay square, or I can just give up the easy go line.
Yeah.
And you tend to see a lot of our guys, they're getting better at it, but a lot of our younger guys, that exact same scenario happened where it was you don't want to put an arm up or something and just control, or So I think that's a huge difference in high school to college, that a lot of guys, it just takes time to get those reps and to get better at it.
Or that moment where you get taken down and you have that little 2-second hang your head and feel sorry for yourself. That whole time that you're just not moving, he's improving position. And when you let a college wrestler get whatever position he wants on top, good luck.
Right.
Yeah. You better keep moving.
Yeah. How do you mentally prepare for a match?
I'm not really the jump around, go nuts type of guy. I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but I'll be up next and I'll just be sitting next to you on the mat. I just feel when I get on the mat, it's my time to go nuts and show out. Yeah. But I don't want to lose all my energy when I'm standing on the side of the mat, because I'm not wrestling the guy at that point. So I kind of just save all the energy, and I also sometimes before matches feel myself getting that anxiety, and just sitting there and breathing helps you save all that energy, because I'm just losing energy at that point if you're anxious. So I just walk on the mat and give them hell.
Are you doing any kind of self-talk kind of stuff, or?
I like self-talk a little bit, but it's mostly my self-talk is kind of just clearing my head, and even just running through positions that I do every day in the room, just I know how to do this high crotch, just running through it in my head before I get out on the mat and do it.
Yeah.
Or I know how to do this single, I know how to go to my rides. Just running through that in my head is my self-talk, other than actually talking to myself. Just imagining what I'm gonna do.
Right. Visualization.
Yeah.
Nice. Obviously still super early in your career, but up to this point, what has been two questions. What has been maybe the most meaningful match you've had, or one of the most meaningful lessons you've learned about wrestling in college?
I want to say, so meaningful matches is just the matches that I lose. Every match I lose is just meaningful to me. It's a different part of where my motivation comes from. So it just builds motivation all up. So I want to go out there and win.
Yeah.
And then what was the second?
What have you learned? I mean, what's been the biggest thing you've learned so far since you've been in college?
I want to say just don't take everything too personal. Even when you go out there and you wrestled good and lose, just walk off the mat and understand there's places where you have to get better. And just getting in the room and working on those simple positions, because another thing in college wrestling now is when you work on things, you go back to technique, because it's the simple things that you mess up now, and just going back to those simple things and fixing them and perfecting them to win that next match or win that next position.
I think the higher level of anything you do, whether it's football, basketball, wrestling, the higher the level, the more the details matter.
Yeah,
for sure. It's like even just taking wrestling, like the first time you learn a new move, not even as a beginner, but just like take a intermediate wrestler. First time you learn a new move, back when you were maybe like middle school, high school, you had to go slow, right, to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
So the higher level you are, the faster you can go. So the closer to 100% effort you can perform with 100% accurate technique. I guess that's probably what I'm trying to say. So like, I think most of us have probably never really passed probably maybe like that 90% mark or whatever. But like those Olympians and stuff, these are guys who are able to go at like 100% effort without sacrificing technique. They're able to have 100% accurate technique. Within reason, obviously everything's different in a live match setting than it is practice. But just sort of having that balance of how hard can I go, and how much does that extra effort throw off the accuracy and precision of my technique. And at the higher levels, that's what you need to have.
Yeah, 110%. So, no, that was great. That's why I kind of wanted to ask it. Shifting gears a little bit from wrestling, tell everybody, what kind of stuff you do, for fun if you're not wrestling. I mean, this time of year is kind of silly question because that's all we do. But when you like yesterday, it was Sunday, we didn't have practice, we had a day off. What do you usually do with your time?
The birds.
Freshman with the...
Oh, we do. Reed wanted me to do that actually after the podcast.
Nice.
So that's what probably we're going to do. Shoot some freshmen with Orbeez guns.
Yeah, please clarify.
But the Birds were on yesterday.
Nice.
Got the 16-22 win. We're about to go all the way to the Super Bowl.
Birds fans too?
I'm a Star Giants fan.
My wife and father-in-law are big Eagles fans.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
We're going to the Super Bowl this year.
Phillies too.
Sure.
Man.
You can't take you. If anybody likes one Philly team, they like all the Philly teams.
Is that how you are?
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's just like we're nuts. Everyone's nuts. They're all nuts.
Insane. I feel like most Jersey people are too, though.
Yeah, but it's mostly Philly. Philly's the worst. Philly's where it gets bad.
Yeah. So football, you like doing that. And yeah, so what are those like Nerf guns y'all are shooting each other with?
They're
Orbeez.
The Orbeez, the little Orbeez.
Oh, the
gun.
beads?
Yeah.
They're like filled
They don't
with
feel.
water.
They don't feel good either.
Uh-huh.
They leave little welts, but
It's like a paintball, but instead of being filled with water, it's like a little thing that soaks up water, so it's still like solid.
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
And then you could freeze them too if you.
That's
like we really
intense.
want to hurt the freshmen, but
That's hazy. We don't do that.
No, we don't.
but
I don't know to steer clear.
yeah. The other day they thought they were funny. Well, it came in our room, shot us, stole my shoes.
Oh,
So
man.
like we waited till like 1 a.m, got them back while they were all sleeping,
Nice.
and yeah, that's pretty fun. We play the game too. We've been on Black Ops,
Okay.
but like yeah, we don't really do much. We'll figure something out since we're coming around
Holiday
winter break.
Yeah.
It's about time for a Harry Potter marathon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Big Harry Potter guy.
Harry Potter guy.
Well, wrapping up, what's one thing, like this might be news to me too, what's one thing that most people might not know about you, but that they should know about you?
This is hard.
Put them on the spot with this one.
One thing most people don't know about me, but they should. I just want to say, like, I'm smart. Like, most people don't, like, most people think that, like, I'm just an airhead, but, like, I go to class, I get my work
You actually
done.
have good grades.
Yeah, I have good grades. I don't know if I got Dean's List this marking period, but all A's and a B. But, yeah, I put the work in the classroom. If my younger brothers are listening, I want you guys to know that you still have to do that.
Definitely.
That's a big part of going to college and getting recruited to colleges. So
And staying in college.
yeah, and staying in college. So topic of the week is go to class and
Definitely. I mean,
get
so many
everything done.
people, like, instantly take themselves out of the equation for a national championship just because they can't do that. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's huge advice. Like, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't get your grades, then it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. So, and I think wrestlers get a bad rap in general, just traditionally for not being the smartest guys in the world. But we actually have a solid team
We got
in the South
a
GPA.
great group
Yeah.
now, but I think for wrestling as a whole, like not just in Newberry, but just in general, you got to be a little bit crazy to wrestle because who wants
Yeah.
to put themselves through what we do?
Right.
got to be a little blue collar in your mentality, which I don't mean that negative in terms of like not smart. I just mean that in terms of like you're just here to show up to do work, and like especially if you're very focused on your sport, that's noise to the side. But no, like that is what enables you to do this. Yeah. So you just get a lot of blue collar people who maybe their parents didn't go to college. They had a great high school career, so they got an opportunity to go to college, but it's just never been instilled. Like there's just so many things that are kind of uniquely wrestling that do play a part in that sort of stigma. But yeah, I mean, for anybody who, younger, high school, middle school, whatever, who might want to go to college and wrestling might be your ticket, get those grades up, because not only is it something that can hold you back if you don't have good grades, but it's something that can help you pay for school if you do have good grades. Yeah. And that's where it's so, like, every high school kid only knows of the D1 football model, which is full ride for everybody who, like, you get a scholarship, full ride. Every other sport, D1, D2, whatever, everything else is, I'm going to give you a few $1,000s to add to all your academic money, state money, et cetera, to hopefully put together a package. So the more academic money you're getting, the bigger your package, the more schools pay for. So make sure you're taking care of grades. But that's one thing I think is horribly not understood or under promoted or whatever I'm trying to say. Like it's not communicated clearly enough to 8th graders, 9th graders, 10th graders, and it's not until they're a 12th grader getting recruited that they learn think about it, right? That this C- average I've got ain't gonna cut it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that was me. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, so I think that's great advice for everyone. I want to hear you, just tell everyone what your goals are at the end of the day. You mentioned graduating and getting that job, but when it comes to wrestling, what are your goals?
Be the best. I mean, obviously I want to go in there and I want to win a region title, and then I want to go in there and win a national title, and I want to do that all 4 years. I mean, we'll see how everything goes, but like through work ethic and things like that, I think it's 100% possible to happen.
Absolutely. And that's why I love asking that question. I ask every recruit that ever steps on campus that question too, because it's important for me to hear, like, not only the guys on my team, but even recruits. I want to hear you articulate it. Like, if you can't see yourself winning a national championship, then it's going to be hard for me to put that inside of you. It's kind of already got to be there.
Right. If it's not your goal, I can't make it your goal.
Yeah. So, no, that's awesome. And I knew that was going to be the answer, but I just wanted you to hear you tell that to everyone. So I appreciate you jumping on the show with us. And we'll hop into this next segment, everything else. I wanted to talk about Nicola.
Before we switch gears too much, I do want to say, because I don't think, if you haven't got an opportunity to watch Dennis wrestle, it's like watching the Tasmanian Devil on Looney Tunes. He's like a feral cat out there. I mean, he's just
control chaos,
but barely controlled, mildly controlled chaos for 7 minutes, and I love it. It is just balls to the wall chaos for 7 minutes. And when the dust settles, he's got more points. And he's a lot of fun to watch. His work ethic is phenomenal. He goes at this level from the game we play before practice until extra work after practice. He's great to have in the room. I love having him around. And I think that's why, as a freshman, he is in here as a pack leader. Because, younger guy, redshirt last year, redshirt freshman now. We've got our set of captains that you guys got to meet a few weeks ago, or a couple months ago. But Dennis is one of those guys that's already a leader, just because of how he works and he leads by example. And I love watching him. He's a lot of fun to have around. So keep your eye on him if you get a chance to watch us wrestle. Keep an eye on 157 because he's fun to watch.
Absolutely, and that's this weekend. You can tune in. We're out in Indiana. So, no, I appreciate that, Blanton. Thank you. I wanted to talk, when we talk about everything else, Nicolosi. Speaking of being a talented young guy, he had himself a day. Knocked off number 1, beat Hunsberger, and then, in case you thought that was like, a joke and a fluke, he knocked off number 6, the guy, I don't know how you say his last name, Leonardis of Glenville State, but he beat him 2-1. I mean, these were close matches, 6-5 and 2-1. Before a true freshman to be competing at that level, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So I was pretty impressed with him. And Mount Olive in general looks pretty solid. I don't know if you got to watch them wrestle at all, but they look decent.
Yeah, I mean, they put together a decent squad the last few years. You know, Dan's doing a good job up there, but at the end of the day, you got to sustain it for a season. And I think one thing that we have the advantage there is just a little bit more experience and guys who are a little bit more bought in, I think, to train at that level for the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's seems like one thing I think it's really two.
Agree. I would agree. Other just wrestling news in general. I saw King beat VMI the other day.
Yeah.
That happened. I saw it on Instagram. Now they did get beat up pretty bad by Edinburgh, but it was it's always good to see a D2 team, especially one in our conference, get a win over a D1 opponent. I think in the match against Edinburgh, Mahoney was the only one that won at 65. But the VMI match was pretty solid. The final score ended up being 20-18. And even if you're a D1 program and you want to say you're not wrestling all your starters, that's still a loss you really don't want to take.
Right.
Because we are all kind of recruiting the same guys. Like we lost a recruit to VMI this year. So, to go take a loss to some schools that you're going to be recruiting against is never a good thing.
For sure. Yeah. I think if you're Iowa, or NC State or what, a team on that level, I think you could throw in a bunch of backups and go lose a duel and play it off and be fine.
Right.
I think if you're, I don't want to put any teams on blast, and I certainly don't mean to, just historically, like a Campbell or Gardner Webb or App State or those teams that are not quite to the Iowa Penn State level, but are in our region that we're competing against for recruits. Those are the types of losses you don't want to take. And when VMI, King's right on that Virginia border, and VMI's Virginia Military Institute, you definitely don't want to be dropping that one, regardless of the excuse. Not the best look. So hats off to King.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we've done that a few times earlier in our tenure, and I think that's why we struggle to schedule some of those matches now. But that's why we do it.
Yep, definitely.
Have those matches so you can knock somebody off and have a little bragging rights.
Mm-hmm. I remember when we beat Chapel Hill in Eliezer.
We beat Chapel Hill and NC State in the same year here.
Yeah, that was a fun year.
Right down there?
Yep, that was a fun year.
That's solid. That's cool.
We're going to get back there. Other wrestling news, Oklahoma State, they won the team title at CKLV. Don't know if y'all were able to keep up with that, but they kind of ran away with it. They scored 192 points. I think that was at least, I don't got it pulled up, but 15 or 20 more than second place. So they dominated, and it's cool to see, David Taylor take over and not miss a beat. So that was awesome in wrestling news. Other just general news, Schrader graduates this weekend, Kale Schrader, with his undergrad, which we're really proud about. So congrats to him. And also Devin Moore graduates with his master's this weekend. So Schrader won't actually get to walk because we will be on the road for Midwest Classic, but Devin's going to walk. And I'm really proud of both of those guys because at the end of the day, we kind of have mentioned it several times, walking across the stage is really what it's all about. So congrats to those two guys. Other things just in general with Newberry Athletics right now, we don't got a lot going on. It's winter sports season time, so outside of wrestling and basketball, there isn't too much competition. Women's basketball, they'll be up in Eliezer Arena on December 18th at 5:30, and they take on Catawba, and then men's basketball go right after at 7:30.
Did you see that halftime buzzer beater the other night?
Yeah.
Oh,
that was awesome.
It was wild.
Nice.
Half court, like.
Who picked off a pass? I think he threw it one arm too.
Which team? Us?
Yeah, Newberry.
Nice. No, I missed that.
To take a lead going into halftime. I don't even know how the game finished up, but I know it was all over social media. It was nice.
Nice. No, I missed that. Congrats to them, man. The basketball coach is doing a great job. I love both of them. So, good luck camp coming up. That's on the 18th. And just for general supporters, the last competition we have for the year will be the Midwest Classic. Historically, that's the toughest Division II tournament in the country. I mean, it's our version of the Cliff King or something like that. If you look at statistically the top 20 teams and the top guys in each weight class, that's where they'll be this weekend. And so it's definitely one to circle on the calendar and watch. And then we'll be done for the break. The guys get to go home. Kept them here for Thanksgiving break, but they do get a few more extra days for Christmas break this year. So
yes. On that note, hey, Popeye's turkeys?
Slap. They do. We kept them here for Thanksgiving break, and we both got one. I thought mine was raw the whole time. I went to go smoke it. I took it out of the fridge, and I texted him. I was like, imagine my surprise when I found out it's already cooked. But either way, needless to say, it was really good. I'll be getting it again.
Yeah, it was good.
So, but yeah, that's all we got for the rest of the new year. And then we start in 2025 with our match against Coker right here in Eliezer Arena. So definitely
if anybody's, you know, I know we got a lot of big fans out there who like to follow and just know everything. Midwest actually has a huge like record book database. So if you go to the UND Athletics website, go to wrestling, I think you click like more or whatever, you can find the Midwest Classic stuff. So much. So like in Twitter, they do have a great Twitter page.
Yeah, great Twitter presence.
That like leads up to the event. But if you're folks that want to follow us like day to day and know everything, go look at the record books. You know, you might stumble across a name or two that happens to be sitting here at the table a couple times. But like cool stuff like each day leading up, like kind of like a 12 Days of Christmas countdown, but like leading up to Midwest. This year should be the 46th?
46, I think.
46, something like that. So. But something they've been doing for a long time. But great media, a lot of fun to look at. I was actually looking through it this morning, looking for information on some stuff from a couple years ago. But it's all there and it's a lot of fun. So check that out. And Jackie Paquette kind of heads that up. She does a great job. So UND hosts that tournament. They've done a great job for a long time.
I'm so glad we'll be taking this trip this year on a bus and not in vans.
Listen,
I cannot explain to you.
I'll be asleep the whole way.
Right. Well, listen, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Dennis, thanks again for joining the show, man. We'll be back at it for next month for the next episode. But in the meantime, thanks for supporting Newberry Wrestling.